I like characters and plays where I feel like there's a lot of heart and spirit, and like the characters are three-dimensional, and you're seeing them, they're yin and they're yang, and you don't know how you feel about them here or there, or at the end you're not like, oh, that's the good one, that's the bad one. You're like, no, they are complex like human beings are.
Absolutely,
You know
they're
what I mean?
real people.
Absolutely.
Nobody has a monopoly on
No.
good or evil or right and wrong, and yeah, it's so rich, which is so daunting because it's like poetry. And so you go, even though they're real people and it lives on this mystic level, it's like, how do we negotiate these arias that we're like, you know, and I can feel us in the room. I can feel us going, okay, here we go. Right, flex, let's start doing the acting now. And we just have to start at the beginning. But we can feel the duty of the piece. Like I can feel it in the room.
The opportunity is for an actress to work on classical scale is wonderful. And as we talk about in rehearsals, this play works on levels of Greek as well as Shakespeare, as well as the wonderful classics from America that we get, you know, that we get the treat of experiencing. It's a shame for me that as a woman of color, the roles that I can aspire to tend to be American in their origin. But at the same time, then you get something like this that for, again, my experience as a woman of color, someone brought up in the Caribbean, is what this play does is it brings together stark reality, but at the same time it also recognizes that it walks side by side and without differentiation with the spiritual, with the historic, with the lineage of ancestry, and how that, and recognizing myself and my experience, not only from the Caribbean, but then people who have grown up here. You just kind of realize, yes, I wish that there was more stuff written here about our experience, but at the same time, something like this is a classic because of its universality.
Definitely.
And how it captures all those aspects.
Having that classical repertoire and to acknowledge and celebrate the fact that, a Black American, African American man has written something that is a classic piece of text, you know. Yes, Shakespeare, yes, George Bernard Shaw, yes, Eugene O'Neill, but yes, August Wilson. I mean, it's there, it exists.
But it's interesting, isn't it, that you know, say, if he was writing today, I mean, some of the stuff he's dealing with, some of the themes he's dealing with in Reagan's 1980s, 85 America, we're talking about knife crime today.
That's true.
Mothers talking about losing their sons to the knife, fathers going to jail, you know, so these things are as current now, and even more so maybe, as it was then.
That's what's heartbreaking, because I've got to admit that when I was looking at it, I was like, this is a dark play. And I don't like the word dark because it just reduces something, because it's much more complex than that. But it is bleak, and it's one of his most, people say, his most angry plays, because he's so heartbroken when he's reflecting on 1985, and what's happening to the Black community is so violent and disgusting, really. And but so I was like, do we want to make a piece of work that has very little redemption? Because at first, on first couple of readings, I couldn't find the redemption. But when you hear it in your mouth, an actor's mouth, suddenly you see the light and shade, you see the possibility for redemption, and you see these incredible people that despite everything, despite the system, despite the legacy of slavery, despite being completely marginalized, they are rising and they have every ability. And the reason, you know, I was like, okay, responsible, artistic director hat on, do we want to make a play about violence in the Black community, about crime, and all the cliches, but actually this is so much more than that. It's so much bigger than that, and it's on August Wilson's terms. He's going, look, we are detail-rich, magnificent people with issues like any community, but let's look at why.
What we have is people who are determined to live and are determined to seek out love. And it's a tale of anyone with a negative prognosis that is determined to enjoy all that life has left for them. And
Still has hopes and dreams and ambitions.
and it's just even without hopes, even without dreams, it's just the actual courage to live the day is something remarkable.
But actually, there's a whole community, especially here in Stratford, that we haven't met August Wilson yet, and we deserve to see this epic work, and that's
also-
going to be exciting. No presumptions, just
Exactly.
watching it.
And in addition, I would say so many people who've never actually seen human beings like this up on the stage and a story told like this, they don't even know that these stories exist.
I do remember when I saw August Wilson for the first time, and how that has lived with me, and how that has inspired and influenced my own efforts at writing, but also at how I see theatre. And it's an exciting thing about this theatre itself and this stage is how will we interact with a Stratford East audience, with the London audience that comes to see this play.
It has an amazing reputation for audiences that are vocal in their enjoyment.
Yes.
You know, I've been in
It's
a few of those
one of the
audiences,
best for that.
and there's always a lot of shouting out.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We'll let you know how we feel.
What we get from this play and what we would like audiences to also share is how all our lives are complex. And we are not just whatever we receive that we are. We are all struggling to define ourselves in as many aspects and facets as possible. And that if we allow the lens to only be turned on us, then we can suffer tragedy of creating of our own tragedy, of our own self-definition, and that this play calls for a release from that.
There is always hope. There's always, you know, some kind of hope.
Through this play, you will see, like, life's hard, life's complex, and sometimes there are no answers. There are experiences,
Yeah.
and sometimes you may leave the world with things unsaid, unresolved, and that's part of life. Because this isn't a play where it's like, oh, and here's and happy ever after, because that's not how life is.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the play doesn't offer answers. It offers all the different stages that lead to the end that occurs in this play. And we can, at each point, go, it could have gone this way. If this had happened, it could have gone that way. If this situation was different, that would have happened. If his childhood had been different, if this had been different. And we suddenly see that it's this complex labyrinth.
And it's so human.
Yeah.
I guess I want the audience to be moved. If you leave feeling an incredible sense of anger and injustice, then so be it. Good. I always feel that, you know, I hope we do our best, and we will do it, and we're gonna, you know, it's a great play. But, you know, at the end of the day, you just want to feel that you've come in and experienced something. And it might be uncomfortable, and it certainly isn't a complete, you know, it isn't you know, just a upbeat walk in the park that we go out singing a song, but it has all those colors, and if it makes you upset or you leave angry, then so be it. I just think that's the power of the play, that it should rock some tectonic plates within you. I hope that happens.